Well, it's starting to look a lot like Christmas here in the foyer of the House of Commons. They got the tree up, and I guess tomorrow I'll get the lights on here. But the question is, what's Christmas going to be like for income trust investors? Collectively, of course, these people lost billions of dollars over the last number of months since the Halloween announcement that Ottawa was going to reverse its decision and tax those income trusts. Well, we've got a bit of news for you here. And I did talk to the Minister of Finance. I just asked him a question in the House of Commons. But before we get to that, let's go back to Professor Lawson from the Sprott Business School at Carleton University for this bit of an update on his opinion on the income trust situation, and then come on back because I want to talk to you in just a moment about what the Minister of Finance has said moments ago. The argument the Finance Minister has made is we were turning into an income trust economy, had no choice but to do it, and sorry, small-time investors, but you guys just got caught in the crossfire. Is he saying something that makes sense?
There was significant tax leakage there, but this is an issue that should have been dealt with 8 or 10 years ago, when too many corporations were being driven in terms of their capital structure or the way they organized themselves by these tax rules. So that was really a disservice to the Canadian business community when significant economic decisions are being made by business driven by tax considerations. So we've finally come around to the realization they had to correct this. And I guess they didn't want to do it as quickly as they did, but I think they've done the right thing in terms of addressing that tax-driven consequence for corporate structuring.
Now, some people, of course, who were affected by this say, whoa, why did he need to do it all in one night? Could he not have just called the CEOs of Bell and Telus in Canada and said, you guys back off, there's a moratorium, we're not allowing any more conversions, and then had a longer phase-in period to mitigate the market volatility? Would that have worked?
I don't think that was a really legitimate way to proceed. I think he had to cut this thing off cleanly. If you start playing games like that, then the whole business community is left in a whole lot of uncertainty for a much longer period of time. Yes, it was a bit of a shock, but I think it was much cleaner to address that issue as directly as they did.
I know personal finance is not absolutely your area, but for all those people who are squawking about all the money that they lost last week and this week, what would you say to those people?
Well, I think that they were riding bubbles that I was concerned about several years ago, and I warned people about this. So I think there was some superinflation in some of the valuations of some of those trusts, so I think that they were unrealistic in terms of maintaining those values. I also think, though, as a result of this new ruling, this proposal, that some trusts, which these people that might have continued to be created in the future, we were starting to deal with more and more marginal businesses converting into trusts. So in some senses, some of these people may have been saved from further trouble down the line.
Thank you very much, Bill. All right, well, I'm just back from question period, and here's the question that I put to the Minister of Finance. You can listen to it in a moment, but I asked him if he would allow income trust investors a one-time write-off of their losses this year off their 2006 taxes, if they could write off the capital loss. Here's his answer. Now, listen carefully, because, well, he said the answer to my question was no. At least it's nice to get an answer. He did bring up the possibility that there may be something else in the works. In fact, I'm quite convinced there is something else in the works. Anyway, judge for yourself. Listen to this. Here we go. Speaker, the Minister of Finance has made it clear he's not going to be budging on income trusts. But I also know he's a man who values fairness, and I also know he's a man who's aware of the money that investors have lost. So my question is, would the Minister agree to allow income trust investors a one-time write-off on their 2006 taxes of capital losses as a result of his decision?
The Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the honourable member for the question. I have had and am having a series of meetings last night, this morning, and later this afternoon with representatives of income trust groups to discuss their concerns. The suggestion by the member of a one-time write-off is not going to happen. I appreciate the suggestion. We are having discussions with respect to implementation issues which are important to achieve the goal. And the goal, of course, is fairness in taxation, so that whether one has a corporate entity or a trust entity, they'd be treated the same for tax purposes. Thank you, Speaker.